Hi everyone. Today I want to make an insert card with my Joy, and I'm going to be using materials and pins that came in the brand new fan mail mystery box. So let's get started. We're going to go up here to blank canvas. I could have also used the guided flow for cards, but because I also want to write on the inside of the card as well as cutting the outside of the card, it's easier to start with the blank. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to projects. And then I'm going to type in thinking of you insert card. And this one right here is the one that kind of caught my eye. I kind of like this one down here too, so it's kind of a toss-up between them. I think I like this one with the butterflies. And we're going to edit a copy. Now, it's important to pay attention to the size of your insert card. The one that I'm using is an A2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a shape. And I'm going to grab a square. And I'm going to close this to get it out of my way. And then I'm going to go up here to size. I'm going to unlock it. And I'm going to make this the size of an A2 card, just so that I can use it for a guide. So an A2 card is 4.25 by 5.5 inches. And then I'm just going to make this white. I'm going to click this little black box and change this to white so that I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to arrange it to the back so that it's behind my card. Okay, now if you look, you can kind of see that my insert pieces are the same size, so I know I have the right card size chosen. But I need to make some changes. So I'm going to go over here to my layers panel, and I'm going to open everything up so I can see what everything is. I tend to not like to use these little actual cutouts for the corners because sometimes I don't get my card on the mat straight, and then you can really tell. So I tend to delete those. They're right here in the layers panel, so I'm just going to click on them and then hit delete on my keyboard. And then I also got rid of that little border that was around the edge because that would have looked funny without the corners. And then I want to change my coloring. The pen I'm using is going to be the extra fine pen, and it's going to be the blue one. So I'm going to go ahead and change the colors of all of these drawn parts for extra fine and then blue. And then my background piece is actually, I haven't decided yet whether if I'm going to do, there's a pink piece and a blue piece, and I haven't decided which one yet. But all of these parts here, the writing and these little butterflies, are going to cut out. So you're going to see what's behind those. Now let's add a text box. Oops. Sometimes these little warnings pop up. You can usually just close them out. Okay. Now, I might end up having to change my sizing or alignment or whatever, but for right now, we're going to go up here where it says regular, and I'm going to change this to writing because I'm going to write this inside the card. And then I'm going to go up here to the font name, and I'm also going to change that because I want a different font for this. I have several that I have saved in my bookmarks, but this retro script just popped up, and I actually really like that. So I think, now I'm going to take this piece over here that we put in earlier that we could use for sizing. And I'm going to move that over here so I can use it for the sizing for the inside of the card too. Now, they've changed our toolbar. It's back up at the top, but some of our tool options look a little different. For text, I'm going to click on Format, and I'm going to change my line spacing. You can either go here and drag it, or you can type in a number if you have something specific in mind. It looks like because I made this smaller, I think I can probably change this a little bit and let it use a little bit more of the width. Okay. I like that better. And now it doesn't use up quite so much of the height of the card. Okay, and then I'm going to add another line. For my signature line, and I'm also going to shrink that down so it's a little bit smaller than maybe the rest of the card. Okay, and we're going to change the color on this as well because I'm also going to be doing that with the extra fine blue pen and this text right here. Drop down to extra fine and then choose my color. Okay, now let's take a look here. Do we like this? Looks like I need to move that line just a little bit closer. Oops, maybe not quite that close. Okay, I kind of like that. I'm going to move all of this out of the way and then okay, so now we have our text and we have our card front. We can get rid of this piece now because we aren't actually going to use that. And we're going to go up here and save this. And I'm just going to put test next to that in case I have to make more changes. And then once I have this saved, I'm going to exit out of my screen share so that I can show you actually drawing the card and putting it together and setting it up. I'm going to be putting this card all together on my brand new Joy 2. So I need to let that boot up real quick so that I can change my machine up here at the top. And now I'm going to select my Joy 2. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to set this up. When we click Make It, it's going to ask us whether if we want it on a regular mat, card mat, without a mat. I'm going to use a card mat, so I'm going to select that. And then what I'm going to do, my card is about this big. Let's go to this one. Okay, and we need to change our material size to 4.25 by 5.5. And we're going to do the same thing on this one. Okay, now that shows you just how big your card is. So I'm going to want to put this up about here. And then it put the signature line all by itself. So we're going to move that and put it over on this first card. And I'm going to put that about where I want it on the card. Just like that. And then this one over here should be good to go. Now what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to do the inside of the card first because we have to turn the card kind of inside out in the card mat to do the writing on the inside. So I'd rather make sure that I don't have pieces cut out that could cause the pen to make bumps in the writing. So I'm going to set it all up and I'll be right back. Okay, and we're back. So this is the pen set that I'm using today. And we will take out the blue one. And then I'll get the rest of those out of the way. And I'm going to scribble a little bit on here just to make sure the pen writes. You should always do that. And then I'm using this insert card kit. But I'm also going to use this one. These were both included in that mystery box. I want to use a light colored card because I'm using a pen. So we need it to be able to show. So I'm going to use the cream colored card. And then I haven't decided yet. I'm either going to use this red insert or this blue one. So I'll pull one of each out. Okay, now on my screen, it's set up and ready to go to do the drawing portion of the card. Now these mats were also included in this new kit. You get 5 of them. Make sure you put a sticker on your cover of some kind to make it easier to find your cover so you don't lose it. Okay, now we're going to write on the inside of the card first. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this card and we're going to turn it backwards. And then we're going to insert it into our card mat just like we would for any other card. You're going to go all the way to the right and all the way up. And then I am going to find my ruler. Okay, maybe I'm not. Normally, I would measure from the very top of the card to the very top of the mat and make sure that it's exactly 1 inch. That's how you can best keep your card centered. I don't know where my ruler's sitting right now, though, so we're just going to hope for the best. Okay, on my screen, I'm hitting continue. And I'm going to go to Browse All Materials and go to Insert Card. And it's telling me to load my blue pin in the clamp. You just drop it in and close the clamp. And then we just insert our mat. Now what I like to do is I get these 2 front clips just over the edge of my mat and then I push quick. That kind of helps make sure that my mat stays loaded straight. Okay, and now it will start the drawing. Does anybody else love just sitting and watching the machine draw? This isn't a ton of text, so it shouldn't take too long. It's working on line 3 now. This was such a great mystery box if you have a Joy. Well, actually, you could use it on any of the machines because there's card mats for all of the machines now. There were several card kits inside, plus you get 5 of the card mats, and you get a basic tool kit and a couple other supplies, so it was really a great deal, and I love these extra fine pins. I always find it so fascinating how it'll skip a single letter in a line and then come back to it later. Okay, now it's all done with the drawing, so I'm going to click on Unload on my screen. And I'm going to leave the pin in because we have more to draw on the outside. Now what I tend to do is I just bend my mat a little bit to kind of loosen up my card. And then grab from the edge and pull up gently. Okay, there's our writing. And that looks great. Now we're going to fold it back the right way and insert it back into our card mat all the way to the right, all the way up, and then make sure it's pushed down well. Okay, and it's ready to load again. Make sure the corner's stuck. I'm going to put it right under the edge, and then I'm going to push fast. Now this one might take a tiny bit more because the flower is kind of big, so it might take it a minute to draw all that. glue gun out and get it ready. And for anybody that's curious, that is the precision glue press from My Sweet Petunia. I have some issues with my hands, and that has been amazing for squeezing glue so that my hands don't hurt. Okay, it's all done with the pen. So we're going to take that out and put the cap on. And then we're going to drop our blade in. Same thing, just drop it in and then close the clamp. And then on my screen, I'm going to tell it to go. I love doing these insert cards. They make for quick work when you have a card that you need to do all of a sudden, or you just want to do something extra, but you don't want to have to spend a whole lot of time on it. I'm going to grab the spatula that was included in the basic toolkit that came in this box as well, just in case I need a little help getting my card off my mat. Looks like it's almost done. Okay, and now I'm going to hit unload on my screen. And I'm going to move my little joy out of the way. Make sure my table is clean. Okay, the same thing. I'm going to bend my mat just a little bit to help loosen it. And then we are gently going to peel this up because there's some pretty small spaces in here. If you get your spatula underneath and you just kind of wiggle it back and forth, that can help. Okay, there we go. My blade is starting to get dull on my little joy. I probably should have changed that before I cut this card. But it's usually pretty easy to pull the pieces off. There we go. Okay, now this is the front of your card. Now I know I need to clean my mat, but before I do that, I'm going to stick my cover back on it just so I don't get any extra dirt on there that I don't need. Okay, now to decide which inside piece I want. This is the blue one. And then I also have this magenta one. I really like them both, but I honestly think I like this one even better. Okay. So I'm going to go with the blue. Now what I'm going to do, because I didn't do the insert corners, is I'm just going to glue this onto the back of my card. So I'm going to turn my card over. And this piece does not quite go all the way to the edge, so make sure you don't quite glue all the way to the edge if you're going to make this the same way I did. And try to get just a little bit of glue in some of these smaller spaces just to make sure that they stick. I'm using Nuvo's Deluxe adhesive, and it will dry clear, so if I make a mess, and I probably will, it won't be as obvious. Okay, I think I've done pretty good there. Actually, just to make sure I got the edge, I think I'll go around this edge here as well. Okay, and then we just want to center this in our space as good as we can. And there we go. All done. And you have a nice, quick, easy card. And the kits also come with envelopes. So all I have to do is address the envelope and it's ready to go. Hope you all enjoyed this short little tutorial, and happy crafting.